Good morning, everyone, and welcome to week 6. So, it seems that there is some debate about our impossible argument from last week. Is a hot dog a sandwich? Now, of course, now you know why I couldn't mention that at the beginning of the week, right? Because I would have been laughed out of the class. Prof. Miller, what in the world are you talking about? Why would we talk about hot dogs and sandwiches? And you still might be thinking that. Might be wondering, I thought this was a college English class. I was under the impression that we were going to be doing some advanced composition and critical thinking. You are. Right now, we're taking a little sidestep into some critical thinking with our focus on rhetoric. So this week is our last week. Like I said, it was a very short unit, 2 weeks only. This week, you are not done talking about hot dogs and sandwiches. So let's take a look at the module for this week. So again, here we are. There's your plan. One thing that you need to do, and I put this as an item on your to-do list because I want to make sure that you see it. So, like I said, this unit is very short. Last week and this week, all about argumentation, really a super laser focus on that, on those argumentation skills in terms of writing. Next week, we start a 3-week unit that is going to be more based on some of the advanced comp skills, information literacy, analyzing and using evidence, primary, secondary sources, and that kind of thing. And you will have an opportunity to choose what topic to write about. And so this week, you need to start thinking about that. So again, it's on your to-do list, but I want you to kind of think about today, or beginning this week, spending 5 minutes on some news site, or preferably not just Twitter, but you could go to any, like even Google News or Apple News, just kind of skim and see what's going on in the world. Just get an awareness of some of the things that are happening, right? Like the hurricane that hit Puerto Rico, or what's happening in Ukraine and the nuclear threats, or what's going on in Haiti. Like there's stuff happening all over the world every day. And so what I want you to do is just spend 5 minutes a day, each day this week, and just kind of skim the headlines and start to kind of think about what's bubbling up for you, what's interesting to you. Because beginning next week, you're going to have to choose something to research for that 3-week unit. And it needs to be something contemporary, needs to be something that's current, happening now. It needs to be something that is big enough for multiple news outlets to cover. So, for example, you might know of something that is happening in a little village in a different country, but if multiple news outlets are not covering it, then you wouldn't be able to use it for the assignment that we're going to be working on. So it needs to be something about which many news outlets are discussing, right? It needs to be something that is being covered by more than one news organization. And it doesn't have to be specific to the United States. It can be, but if you want to look at something else that's happening anywhere else in the globe, you're more than welcome to do that. So that is your primary task this week as far as getting ready for next week. You don't have to do anything, as in there's not an assignment, but I want you to start thinking about what's happening in the world that is of interest to you. Okay, but for this week, for our kind of wrapping up our discussion about argument and where we're going there, you have your first task is to read through this page about rhetorical appeals. This will probably be a review for many of you. This is logos, pathos, ethos, kind of those Aristotelian appeals that appear in very traditional forms of rhetoric, but which you've probably studied beginning in sophomore year of high school, maybe in some way, especially if you took the ERWC class as a senior. You probably are well aware of logos, pathos, ethos. And so what you're going to do is you're going to take this knowledge and go back into the discussion board. You're going to go back into last week's discussion board a lot this week. But the first is you're going to choose someone's to respond to, and you're going to try to figure out what type of rhetorical appeals they used and whether or not that was effective. So you're going to read through this assignment and complete that by the end of this week. Okay, so that's the first chunk. The rest of the week, really what we're doing is we're focusing on how to respond to argument, how to become part of that conversation. So you'll see here this first page, responding to arguments. You need to read through these pages. And then you have there's 1, 2, 3, 4 different sentence frames that you're going to use. So it's really important for you this week to make sure that you're working through the module, because you won't be able to complete the task until you've read the page that precedes it, right? So here, let me just go ahead and click into this and you can see what I mean. So your first page here, responding to argument, basically kind of sets up what we're going to be studying this week in terms of entering that conversation. And I mentioned this in the unit overview, which is that, and kind of the purpose behind doing it this way is that I just don't think that we always need to be counter-arguing each other. I don't know that that necessarily serves to move us forward. Certainly it can engage a conversation, but it's not necessarily a healthy way to have a dialogue about a topic if all we're trying to do is counter each other, what each other is saying. And so these sentence frames are designed to kind of help us see different ways that we can enter into any kind of academic writing or even any kind of conversation. This really goes for conversations that we might have with somebody, as well as entering dialogues of written text, which is what we're going to be doing next week. So this first one, right, the beauty and the responsive writing, kind of explains what we're doing and why we're doing it. And then you're just going to click next for the first sentence frame. Maybe we need to know blank. Okay, so this is the first sentence frame that you're going to use, and you can use any of these sentence templates for what your first task is, right? So you can choose any of these. You're going to read through this and then choose any of these templates. And then you're going to click this discussion response, maybe, right? And what you're going to do is you're going to go back into the discussion board and choose one person to respond to. And you're going to choose to use any of the templates in that reading. Okay? All right. It's important to make sure that you understand what I'm talking about here. You're going to read that page about maybe we need to know blank. And then you're going to go back into the discussion board and you're going to choose one person to respond to. What you're going to do as your assignment is type in the name of the person that you responded to, okay? That's the first thing. Then moving along the module. Then there's another template. This one is, well, yes, if, and this is another way to enter that academic conversation. Yes, if, and there are templates on this page, right? And then you're going to read through this page, and then you're going to click this other assignment. You're going to go back into the discussion board again and choose someone else to respond to and use templates from this page. Well, yes, if, and then you're going to upload the name of the person who you responded to there. So you're going to be doing that 4 times. Let me go back into the module here. You're going to be going into the discussion board for the templates 4 different times. Okay, really you're going in 5 times because you are going in the first time for the appeals. So it can be confusing. So you need to make sure you're working through the modules this week. It's really important for you to do that. And then that's it. You have a reflection at the end, which is going to kind of ask you to think about what you learned about argument and kind of where you feel like you are strong, what you would like to learn more about, what was new, what was challenging, that kind of thing. And then you have a writing territory for the week. So as far as like the actual writing goes, there's not a whole lot of big writing happening this week. But as far as the thinking goes and working in the discussion board and all of that, you have a lot to get done. And then again, please remember to be aware of what's in the news and be thinking about what's interesting to you. All right, all that's to say, I hope you have a great week. Please make sure that you are checking Canvas because within the next couple of days, I should have all of the Unit 1 writing back to you. So I'll post a little video about that once I get that finished. If you have any questions, as always, don't hesitate to ask. Please feel free to come on into student hours, schedule a conference. I'm around. All right, take care.